In today's video, I'm going to give you the 7 mistakes I see Bay Area home sellers make when selling their home. And realistically, most of these mistakes are universal and not just a Bay Area thing. Let's face it, there are definitely fewer real estate transactions happening right now, but one thing is still true. It's still a hot market. Prices have come down, but they've come back up again, even as mortgage rates continue to climb. Now, I've met some sellers that think that just because it's a hot market, they can just stick a sign on the front yard and boom, sold. Do you really want to leave to chance one of the biggest, if not the biggest financial sale of your life? Not exactly, right? And by the way, make no mistake about it, these can cost you time and money. So let's talk about what you can do as a seller to maximize your profit and also keep the most money in your pocket. Hey guys, my name is Mac Rogers. I'm a real estate broker here in the Bay Area. I've been a realtor now for over 20 years and I've been asked a lot of questions when it's time to sell a house. For context, the type of house that I'm going to be referring to here is a house that maybe you've lived in for about 10-20 years and you've never remodeled any part of the house since you moved in. Something that looks pretty dated. Mistake number 1 is what to do with the property condition. The very first thing that I get asked and quite often is, should we update/remodel our house before selling? Now, I'm talking about renovations here and not repairing things that are wrong in your property. I'll get to that later. First off, I know that each and everyone's circumstances are different. Maybe different timelines, different budget, etc. So I get that, and what I can tell you is that you need to consult with your local realtor to find out what is right for you. But generally, my answer is yes, especially nowadays where most companies like ours have a concierge service, wherein we have a project manager and a designer that comes in and help figure out what is the best course of action to take. Making the right type of renovation project can increase and attract more potential buyers and also sell it faster. In my experience, an overwhelming majority of home buyers prefer a home that is turnkey. That's definitely true here in the Bay Area. Mistake number 2, doing renovations to individual areas of the house. Should you remodel or update just certain portions of the house or the property, say like the kitchen or any other part of the house, and just focus on that one area and not work on the rest of the house? This again can be a bit tricky, but if your house is pretty uniform in the way it looks, I always say no. At the end of the day, you really need to ask yourself, what type of buyers are you looking for or are you trying to attract? Are you looking for the ones that are wanting a turnkey property or someone that wants to do renovations themselves? If you are in between, your pool of buyers are probably going to be less. Mistake number 3, not getting a pre-inspection. This is another question that I get a lot. Should you, as a seller, get a pre-inspection? Back when I first started selling real estate, this was kind of a novel idea of sellers providing their own inspections. And I know that a lot of markets across the US or even here in California, pre-inspection reports are still not the norm. And even back then, when it wasn't common, I have always advised my clients to get pre-inspection reports. Reasoning behind it is simple. For one, you want to lessen the chance of a buyer renegotiating the price or, God forbid, even backing out when they do their own inspection. Number 2, a pre-inspection report gives you a chance to see what needs to be done with the property, any maintenance that needs to be attended to. So even say if you don't want to renovate or fix up the property, chances are you would want to address maintenance, safety, and other non-working issues around the house. So this also answers the question of, should you make repairs? I always say yes to the extent that it would help the sale of the property. Again, you want to lessen the negative things that any buyer can have against your property. Mistake number 4, not cleaning up. What is the minimal thing that you as a seller need to do to get the house ready? The answer to this is simple. Declutter, clean up, remove extra furniture, all that other junk that you have around the house. And we all have them, by the way. I can't begin to tell you how the simple task of cleaning up and decluttering goes a long way. And what do I mean by this? Well, that means nothing on the kitchen countertops, your bathrooms need to be clean, floors and cabinets all needs to be wiped down, the backyard should also be clean, no oil cans or old lawnmower or old patio furniture lying around. Anything that you can dump it. Mistake number 5 has to do with painting. This is a bit tricky. My general rules are these. Number 1, do you have funky colors? Let's face it, your color palette is probably different from the buyer's. Number 2, will a coat of paint make the rooms look brighter? In many cases, touch-up paint is all that is needed. Here's another pro tip. You know those magic erasers? Those are a big help when cleaning up walls. Another tip is painting the trims. When you paint the door trims or baseboards, etc., it helps make it look cleaner. But be careful, because if your walls are really bad and you paint the trims, it would only highlight how bad the walls are. For the exterior, try power washing the walls, and after that, paint the windows and door trims. It works wonders. Mistake number 6, staging. To stage or not to stage. Okay, first thing I want to say about this is this. You know, when you go into new builds or new construction homes, what do they have? Model homes, right? And these model homes are staged. In fact, the builder spends a ton of money staging the homes that they have for sale. Here are some reasons you would want to stage your home for sale. Number 1, it enhances visual appeal. Staging a home allows you to showcase the property's full potential. By strategically arranging furniture, decor, and other elements, they can create an aesthetically pleasing and inviting atmosphere that appeals to a broader range of potential buyers. Staging helps buyers visualize. Empty rooms or spaces with no furnishings can be challenging for buyers to envision how they would use the space. Staging provides a clear idea of how furniture can fit and how the rooms can be utilized effectively, making it easier for buyers to imagine themselves living in the house. I'll tell you right now, in my experience, buyers have a hard time visualizing themselves living in a space when it's empty or when the owners have their own furniture on there. Number 3, staging highlights a room. Staging emphasizes functionality of each room. It can show a specific area, how it can be used as a home office, a nursery, a guest room, or any other purpose, thus catering to various buyer preferences. Staging creates emotional connection. A well-staged home can evoke emotions and create a sense of home for potential buyers. When buyers can emotionally connect with a space, they are more likely to see it as their future home and may be willing to pay a premium for it. Next, staging sets a standard. Staging sets a high standard for the home and it can make it stand out in the market. It helps communicate that the seller cares about presenting a quality product to buyers, which can positively impact their perception of the home. Professional presentation. Staging is typically done by professional designers who understand how to present a property in the best possible light. Their expertise ensures that the house looks its best in promotional materials, brochures, photos, and virtual tours. Finally, it attracts more buyers. A well-staged home tends to attract more potential buyers and can lead to quicker and more competitive offers. As the property stands out from others, it increases the likelihood of generating interest and receiving higher offers. In summary, staging a home is a marketing strategy that helps sellers present their home in the best possible light, allowing potential buyers to envision themselves living there and ultimately increasing the chances of a successful sale. Let's go back to our mistakes. Mistake number 7, pricing. How much should you price your house? Determining the right price for your home is a critical decision that can significantly impact the success of your sale. Setting the price too high may deter potential buyers. And here in the Bay Area, in my experience, when buyers see a home that is overpriced, they tend to skip it. I think that the buyers' thinking is that the sellers might not be too serious about selling their home or they're being too greedy. Now, the flip side of this is setting the price too low. Here's the thing with the current market that we have right now. If you misprice a house and you give it enough marketing time, chances are the market will pull you up to where you're supposed to be anyways. This is simply because there's not a lot of inventory, and the end result is that most of the buyers still see your house and they will pretty much bid up your house. There's a lot of agents that subscribe to this pricing method of pricing it low here in the Bay Area, and I'm not a proponent for it. For one, if you price your home below what the current market price is, you tend to get buyers that might not have the budget or not qualified for your intended price target. And another thing is that you basically open your house to so much buyers that are not qualified that are coming in to the property. So the quality of buyers that you're getting is not really what you wanted. Look, if you want to price your house or your home more aggressively or attractively, I say don't go below 5%. At least that's my rule of thumb. They may also think that there's something wrong with the property if you price it too low. So those are some of the mistakes I see sellers make. They basically correspond to the most common questions that home sellers have as well. So I'd like to add 2 other bonus questions that I get from sellers that you might also be asking. One is, when do I sell my house? It has to do with timing. Number 2 is, how long will it take to sell my house? Also has to do with timing. In general, spring and summer are the best time to sell your house. This is especially true in parts of our country where there is actual winter. You know, snow. In many markets, the spring and early summer months tend to be popular times to sell a home. The weather is generally more favorable and families often prefer to move during the summer vacation to minimize disruption for children's schooling. Here in the Bay Area, this also follows this pattern. We have more sales happening during these times. However, being that our climate is generally mild year-round, sales pretty much happen throughout the year. No snow to stop people from going out and seeing houses. It's not like if you sell your house in November, you won't be able to sell it or sell it for less. In fact, when you sell towards the end of the year, I'd argue that the buyers that I've encountered, that the buyers that are out during that time, they're more aggressive because most of the time, they are trying to make sure that they have a house already before the end of the year or even before the holiday season starts. Other factors that plays into when you sell your house are probably more personal and market specific, like local market conditions. You need to monitor the current real estate market in your area. If it's a seller's market with low inventory and high demand, you definitely want to get a jump on it. In a buyer's market with more properties available, you might face more competition, which could affect your pricing strategy and time on the market. Economic factors is another thing to consider. Consider the overall economic conditions in your region and how they may impact the real estate market. Positive economic indicators such as job growth, low interest rates can create a favorable environment for selling. Your personal timeline. To me, this is the biggest one. It doesn't matter if the market is hot if you're not ready to sell. Evaluate your own schedule and timeline. If you need to sell quickly, you may want to choose a time with historically high buyer activity. On the other hand, if you have flexibility and can wait for the ideal market conditions, you might have more options. Tax consideration is another thing. Depending on your situation, there may be potential tax implications related to the sale of your home. Depending on your jurisdiction, there may be tax advantages to selling in a particular tax year. Consult your CPA, your accountant, or your tax attorney. And I have to say this for compliance purposes. I am not a tax attorney. I am not a CPA or an accountant. This is not tax advice. Competition is another consideration for timing. Even though there's very limited inventory, your neighborhood might have several properties that are for sale that is similar to yours. Research the competition in your area. If there are many similar properties for sale, you may want to wait for a less competitive time to list your home. And finally, how long will it take to sell my house? Here in the Bay Area, what I have seen or experienced throughout my 20 plus years of real estate career, it's been between 14 to 21 days. That is insanely fast because in other markets, 30 to 60 days is the norm. Obviously, each market is different, each neighborhood is different, and each property is different. Talk to your agent. So those are some of the tips and some of the questions that I often get asked by sellers. Remember, every situation, every property is different. So treat this kind of a springboard and evaluate your own situation. Thanks for watching.